All right, everybody, which I mean, if anybody is here yet. I'm in a little early, so I'm going to give it a minute here. But basically, what I'm going to be doing is showing off some cards. And let's see here. All right. I was just watching the stream with the guy from Peter from SGC. That was definitely interesting. I got to ask a couple questions over there. On Slabstock's channel, so that was really good. We got 30 minutes here too until most people are probably going to run over to Brad and Dustin's channel and check out their interview and or interviewee with Jeff from the sports card stuff. But all right, so basically, there's a couple people in here now. Happy to have you. And I went to the card show on Saturday, and I also went to like a flea market that was closing, going out of business, and the guy had posted a bunch of pictures of cards. Come to find out, he knows a lot of the same people I know. He's an older gentleman. And the wax that I wanted to go see wasn't in there. There wasn't a phone number for me to call. I have his phone number now, so that's cool. So hopefully we'll meet up with some of that stuff. But basically I'm going to show you what I picked up this week at the Seminole Card Show, and basically what I paid for it and what deals I got for the most part. So we're going to go ahead and just jump right on into it. And I'm going to start with probably my more expensive cards, because I think the better deal was on the cheaper cards. And one of the things when you're at the show, or any show for that matter, when you're running around the show, the first two tables you hit, you may see some cards you want. Do you buy them right away? Do you try to look around the show? It's always that little bit of conflict I run into. And especially if I'm in a dollar bin. So what I'll do in a dollar bin is I'll pull out all the cards I like hopeful of maybe buying, based on whatever the price may be and or flexibility the guy may have. And I take all those cards and pile them up and or put them all in one end of the box if there's nobody else around really looking at the cards. And that way I go back through that set of cards again and then really determine, do I want this? Because I'll have a stack. At one point I had a stack like 20 cards. I whittled it down to like 4 cards that I wanted at the end of the day. Because, at first I'm like, maybe. And then most definitely I wanted these cards. So that was kind of how that went. So I'm going to go ahead and switch my cameras up here. Here we go. Boom. We should see Sticky Icky right there. Make sure that will focus here in a second too. So yeah, basically I'm going to make it to where it's a little easier to, identify the card as I drop it here. There's the focusing. So let's go right into it. And I'm going to go into some of the higher cards. Let me take this off there so I'm not staring at that. And all right, so this is something I like. This was a Team 2000 Kurt Warner. It's actually almost like a checklist, and it's a retro of the 99 score rookies that they did. But the Team 2000, consider it like a Topps Gold card would be the perfect example of that. So pick that up. This was in a lot of these few cards that I picked up. This one right here, look how off print this card is. See that line? Because that line's supposed to be up there. Look at the rated rookie over here. I'm going to send this in. But, basically for what I was getting the lot for, I was like, I'm just going to buy it anyway. He's got a lot of upside. He played really, really well this year. He's very young and he's very hopeful. So this is a guy that, lightly prospecting if I can get something cheap enough. That's a parallel of some sort, or numbered card. The other one was the Elijah Mitchell, pink. Obviously has a lot of upside. Played really well this year. So again, a guy I like long term. If it's cheap enough, buy it if you feel good about a player. And then a Tannehill rookie card die cut. This is the Red Zone rookies, and Tannehill is going to be back to where he was last year. The team's really good. They're not going anywhere other than maybe forward. It might be one of those things where for a couple of years they don't get there, and then the one year they get really close. So I'm kind of holding my Tannehills at that point, but I'm also buying in really cheap. So that's the other one there. So for this lot, I had another card too. I don't remember where I did with it. Oh, well. But I paid, I think it was $5. So we're going to go into the next. These are the higher cards. I picked up this Burrow for $5. This is the variation. from Goodwill Champions. You'll see $10 for Dwayne Wade. This is part of the card that usually comes also with the LeBron and the Carmelo, and that card's usually a couple $100. Well, I don't have this Dwayne Wade rookie card. I have the other card with the Carmelo and LeBron on it, with another player that's still intact. So I figured for $10, why not? His stuff's going to eventually go up like it should. An older Prism, red, white, and blue of Kevin Garnett. Always popular player. Good to go. This right here, actually got for $5. This is a Tony Gwynn, and it's a bat jersey card. And a lot of these 90s cards, early 2000s that are numbered, especially lower number. This one, you can see right here, it's numbered to 50, 8 of 50. I even looked online, and there wasn't another one of these to even compare it to. So those are the type of things I'm looking for right now. Here's another example of this card right here. This was in a $5 box. And this is the atomic refractor of the insert. So it wasn't just that you got the insert from Bowman's Best. You could get the refractor or whatever it may be. And the atomic refractor was the hardest one to pull. What's interesting about this card is there's 4 players on it. So you have Scott Rowland, Chipper, then you have Wade Boggs, and then your lonely George Arias or Jorge Arias. So you're basically one guy short from possibly having 4 Hall of Famers, because Rowland's not in yet, but the other 2 are. And this is a pretty tough card to pull back in the day. I forgot what the odds were. I want to say maybe 1 in 200 and something packs for an atomic refractor, let alone an insert. All right, and we're going to buzz through a few of these here too. Will Clark. I like the throwback refractors of cards that were basically printed before technology happened. And I love these. So I'm going to go start collecting a lot more of the key rookies of players and getting that refractor looking card, because I just think they're just super cool. All right, just silver right here. Now, everything I'm going to show you right here, all these cards were in a dollar bin. So I just basically got each one of these for $1. This is an older select Silva, I think from 2016. Adrian Gonzalez, who just finally retired after 4 years. Prospects card. This Wade Boggs Museum Collection. If you don't know what TTM is through the mail, he does sign from like anywhere from $10 to $20. So you can send him 10 to 20 bucks to the address he has on one of the sites, and he'll sign it. I think this will be a really cool one for him to sign. Also, if you notice Wade Boggs, he always signs at an angle. It's never straight across. All right. Hall bound, Ricky Henderson in an Angels uniform. You don't see a whole lot of these. Topps Gold All-Stars card with King Griffey Jr. Another Tony Gwynn here. This is one of the older Topps Star Power cards. And some of the cards back in the 90s may not have been numbered, but they were hard to get. And it was hard to get good people out of those cards. So here's a Nervan Rodriguez. I forgot what this is from Finest. This one is numbered out of 250 though. Then we have a Focus Pocus Chipper Jones. It's a really cool card. I got me a Derek Brooks rookie card. 2 Warren Sapp rookie cards. Another Warren Sapp. Another Warren Sapp. I'm a Bucks fan. Another Warren Sapp rookie card. Let's see here. We have this Z-Team Warren Moon. Like I said, these were in a dollar bin, but I didn't pay $1 for them. Namkan Su. I can't even pronounce his first name if I wanted to. A rookie. Joe Tryon. Colored optic rookie. Chris Godwin rated rookie. Keyshawn Vaughn optic purple wave. Non-numbered. This is like the retail version rated rookie. This right here is numbered out of 1,250, and this is the leather quads out of Hog Heaven, and it's got like a leather look to the card, you can see, but out of 1,200, basically 1,250. Emmitt Smith, this is the first mask card prior to the pandemic, so he already knew what was getting ready to happen. Dream Team, Jerry Rice. Here's a Ryan Tannehill rookie out of metal, and this is the silver variation. If you're adept to any metal, obviously PMGs are huge right now, and there would have been a PMG of this card which is probably a ridiculous number. But there's also a colored version, silver. Then there's PMG. Here's a hot prospects of Cordell Stewart and Dion Sanders. Gunslingers, John Elway. And this is one of those cards where you can kind of see through it on the other side. Some medalists right there of Emmitt Smith. Gridiron Gods, Barry Sanders. This is a really cool card right here. It's got like the columns in the background. It's holographic. I love holographic cards. Not numbered. Again, some of these cards like this, they may not be numbered. They weren't easy to get. Power and Speed, Barry Sanders. Another really cool card. Then this Aaron Rodgers Platinum Red. It's not numbered, but I couldn't pass it up. This one was $1. Second year Shaquille O'Neal insert from Skybox. It's kind of like a foil metal look there. Tracy McGrady Fleer Ultra Rookie or Fleer. For some reason, I just wanted to get this Blake Griffin silver prism, early prism, nice looking card. It's a silver. Stuff like that's really hard to come by. Good old hockey by the numbers, Pavel Bure, and it's a cut card you can see, and it's got like a foil. Looks hard to tell with the camera, but it's a really cool card. And I really like Pavel Bure, who's the Russian Rocket. Mario Lemieux, and this is the hat trick artist card. Again, some of the cards back in the day, the insert weren't super flashy. Ice Kings Wayne Gretzky. And then this is another Wayne Gretzky right here, and this one's numbered out of 1999, which I believe is the year of this card. All right, we're going to go right back into this. This is just going to be a big show-off pretty much the whole time. Okay, this was the stuff I got at the flea market closing / show. This is an old Flair glove card of Kirby Puckett. It's called Hot Gloves. And there's another Kirby Puckett card. This is not numbered, which is numbered. And look at that number, 10,000. Holy mother. But what was interesting, I remember when these were out, if anybody was collecting at that time, these cards were super, super desirable. All right. These gold leaf cards, even though they're numbered out of 10,000, they were super desirable. Got myself a King Griffey Jr. Topps Gold card. There's a little bit of edge wear right there, but that's about it. Otherwise, it's in good shape. The sleeve inside's wrinkled. It's not the card. So that's a really cool one there. If I end up with a Jersey Fusion patch or something in him with it over here, I may swap the card out. Right here, this is an interesting one too. There's two versions of this. If you look, it says Pop Warner up here. Right? This is the bronze. There's also a gold version of this card as well for the entire set. And they're multipliers, basically. And if you look, this is also a low serial number. 1965. So when you look at old Edge cards, always look for the serial numbers on the back, because obviously we know serial numbers can sell cards. I'm going to say that one for a minute. This one's really cool. Edgerrin James, Pacific Pride. It's like his 3rd or 4th year card. Got a Platinum Portraits Metal Terrell Davis. So these can be very, very expensive cards. So the right guys. Shaquille O'Neal, Real Emotion. Old Fleer insert of Hakeem Olajuwon. Two different versions of these. And all these cards that I'm showing you right now, I got for $15. So I got 13 cards for $15. And then this one's interesting too, because this is a very thick card out of Edge, and it's lecular, but it's not lecular. And on the back is Shannon Sharp. What's interesting about this card right here, it's got a hand number at the top, 14 of 50. And I couldn't find another one hand numbered, and I haven't been able to find any dictation of why that would be numbered 14 of 50. So I was like, for $1, for something that people could easily just gloss right over and might be something super rare, I'm going to go ahead and take it. So I went and did that. Plus, I like Dan Marino. They're both Hall of Famers. It's not like I'm losing out on $1. And then this is an interesting card. All right, this was the only Marvel card he had, and Marvel's going off right now. These were editor cards, and they were originally given out. I don't remember if they were with a Wizard magazine or something like that. I'm trying to get more information on them. But each editor, which I believe there were 15 or 18 in the set from 1991 to 92, and they had made their own cards and given them out. And what it was is they were supposed to be taken to a show or an event and have them signed. But when you got them originally, they're not signed. They're completely blank. And when I was reading a forum, there was only one, a complete set of these signed. And they're hard to find. There's only like 4 versions of these editor cards on eBay. There's none of this guy right now. Last one of these blank sold for $50, but some of them sell for 50 to 100 or more. And this is kind of like a hidden object within 91 Marvel, 92 Marvel stuff, because you can't get it out of a pack. And they're very hard to find. There's probably not a whole lot left because people just threw them away. Because they're like, I don't want the editor's card. Who cares? You know, they didn't make a Jim Lee of this. So, you know, this is something really cool. And like I said, I have one of these. It's blank of the same exact guy. That's what was interesting when I was going through it. I was like, holy crap. And then I looked on the back. I was like, oh my God, this is signed. So I'm not sure what that's worth, but it's worth more than $1. I know that. All right, now we're going to go through this other stack right here. In this stack, these were 3 for $1. Okay, keep that in mind. 3 for $1, not Ickey Woods. Shaquille O'Neal, Topps Gold. One of the Upper Deck teammates is what these were called. And if you can do it, you can kind of put them together. People don't realize this. These cards can go together. So like if you had Steve Young and then Jerry Rice, they go together. People just thought it was just die cut. No, these make one big card, realistically. You can put them together and make anybody, here's another one, a teammate. See what I mean? See the 2 helmets and stuff? These are great. These are something people don't even pay attention to or know, but they will. Here's another one, Blitzkrieg. Fantastic looking cards. You know, simple, especially for the time, but, you know, fantastic. Old Ultra Steve Young. These are, I believe, Sensations. This right here, the Stadium Club Jerry Rice. Reception's Career. It's another one. It's an insert. Another Rice right here. NFL Lasers. I don't think this was numbered. Nope. And then I love metal. Some of the metal cards are just so nice looking. They have that like Marvel flair, I guess, to them anyway because of the designs on them. And just collecting a lot of these cards in the sets are fantastic. Even if you don't have a PMG, you know, the Jordan, for instance, is a perfect example of that. A couple of holograms of Marino. Holograms are always hard to show on the screen, but they're with Bugs Bunny. I like holograms. I like Dan Marino. Figure they were fun. Again, 3 for $1. Not going to argue. Dan Marino card I just liked. Him going out basically is like his final pose there before he retired. Right here is a star-crossed of Terrell Davis. You don't see too many of these at all. Super cool because it's a hologram and foil card at the same time. All right, we also have this Grand 1000, Grand Gunners 1000. It's basically a yardage thing. Insert of Dan Marino. And then just a regular Pacific Barry Sanders there. Get those out of there. Here's another metal card. Look how cool this Emmitt Smith is. He's got a jetpack on. And there's jets going through. I mean, it looks better in person than it does through the camera, but just metal's fun. Save that for the sign. Here's another metal. This is a Planet Football. Work done. Insert. You know, we all know what these metal cards are doing, and the rest of the set at some point are going to blast off themselves. Power Pulse. Barry Bonds. Look how cool this card is. This is why 90s inserts are picking up, and they're going to keep picking up. And these things are not easy to get in good condition. They're not all going to be numbered. This isn't numbered, but and you probably got one of these a box, but you didn't get Barry Bonds. One of the other 30 guys. All right, now come right here. Here's a Piazza. This is one of the tech ones. I believe this one, nope, not numbered. This is interesting because, again, it's a holographic card. It's also see-through. It's an insert. Very matrixy. Keep these going here. Got probably about 20 more cards. I got this Nomar right here, Topps Gold label. This is numbered out of 299. This might be going to Bryant, though, because I don't know if he has this card or would want it. But I was kind of thinking of him when I grabbed it. This Super Tools Derek Jeter. Look at this. This is such a cool insert. No one needs to be watching this is Dakota. I know he's not all into baseball, but there's football in here too. Cal Ripken highlights. Topps Chrome Refractor. Cal Ripken Game Time. Flea Gamers. And a lot of times what I'm doing is looking at these inserts and I'm looking at the back. Look at this Barry Bonds. Die cut Pacific. Pacific products are so underrated in the early late 90s. There's one of these techs again of Garcia Parra. Just super cool cards. And then there's a few gold labels here. Gold label Jeter. I think these are Road 2s. Alex Rodriguez. You can see how young they are. Jeff Bagwell. Another Barry Bonds right here. Another cool card. Holographic foily. Power Corps. They did just such a good time. Yeah, no, knowing that Paul, I mean, that was the thing too, is like I was going through it and he was like $1. But like I said, the ones I'm doing right now, these were all 3 for $1. So I got 3 of these for $1. And when I go to the show again next month, which I know he's going to be there, there's 2 guys I'm going directly to. And when you go to a show and you get good stuff like this, or they got really good dollar bins, usually talk to them, figure out if they got a bunch more stuff, tell them, hey, I'm going to be here next week, next month, whatever it is. Hey, bring that stuff. I'm interested in these things, because they're just trying to move this. These guys are usually just trying to get out of this stuff. And, you know, when they're giving out such good stuff at 35 cents a card, I mean, I can easily make plenty of money on all this. And God forbid if I had a store or something like that and I was going to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to save the card that I did the best on for last. Here's another Griffey right here. Look how nice this Griffey is. It just screams 90s. I love these things. Not numbered, but super cool. Early Road to the Hall. I mean, this is like a preempted, hey, you're going to be in the Hall of Fame. And I was just like, I got to have that. There's this Griffey. Look at this flag in the background. Again, this is a hollow foil card. And it's just patriotic, great colors. It's an SP Authentic card too. I mean, good high-end stuff. Another Griffey right here. And it's always interesting to look at the names that they would come up with. Diamond Dignitaries, because at some point they were just running out of things to come up with. Bowman's Best Griffey. License to Skill, Ivan Rodriguez. I mean, at a showcase. The Fleer cards too. The inserts they were coming up with, just crazy. Here's a cool Mark McGuire right here, Bowman's Best. And this was nice because it had Pedro and Man Ram on it. Gamers die cut, and it's dual die cut. Metal Planet Earth, Juan Gonzalez. It's a cool insert. Again, out of the Metal series. Like a textured, I don't even know what to call it really, of Ivan Rodriguez. You can see the texture. See how it's like matted in there like it's frame. Not numbered. This Edgar Martinez, which I'm not a big Edgar Martinez fan, but when a card is numbered to 37, which is such an odd number anyway, but 24 of 37, I couldn't find another one of these online anywhere or even sold. I'm not saying that it's going to be worth anything more than maybe $5, but again, it was 35 cents. And if you can find notable players in low, under 100 serial numbered cards for $1, I would buy them. Usually, always. Barry Bonds 2K card of the opening day Topps. Card I just didn't have, and it's a little flashier than it looks in this thing. But the best card I got was this. All right, and I've been looking for this card online for like the last 2 months at a decent price and in a decent condition. And they're usually horribly conditioned. And if they're in decent condition, they sell for $50 or more. And they're hard as hell to grade. And graded ones sell for, a lot more, 100, 150, 200 or more. If you have a 10, I don't even know. Spider-Man is going nuts right now. And then you have Jerry Rice on the card as well. And to get this card for 35 cents, I was like, are you kidding me? I had to ask him again, everything in here is 3 for $1? And he's like, yeah. And I said, okay. I'm just making sure. And I gave him all the cards, let him look through them. He said, I'm going to cut your deal. Gave me like another $1 off. And I was on my way. So if you're tuning a little late, you can go through. It's just me showing a bunch of cards that I got. But, yeah, Paul, there weren't hundreds of parallels back then like there are now. There were very few variations. But what was nice is some of the sets, the variations would definitely cross over to those other sets. And I'm going to switch back to my cam here. So you're looking at me, my cam, not my cam, which I am him too. All right, there I am. And, that's what was fun. So we'll give this probably about another 5 minutes here in case anybody wants to ask anything. And then I want to jump over and see what's going on there on the stream for Brad and Dustin talking to Jeff. I think that might have some validity today with some information. And I'm going to be seeing a few of these guys here coming up soon. I'm going to the Atlanta show. I'm going to be staying with Flipping Steve, and I'm not sure if somebody else is going to be staying with us in the hotel room. But I saw Neo's going to be going now. Dustin's definitely going with his family. Obviously, friends here in Tampa are going up there. They're set up as well. So it should be a lot of fun. And it's going to be the second time I've ever gone somewhere for a card show outside of Tampa since I went to the National last year. And as soon as I get there, I'll start doing some videotaping so you can get an upfront firsthand view. Pretty much the second I walk in, I'm going to start videotaping. I may even go live and walk around a little bit just to give everybody a glimpse of what it looks like. It's going to save it anyway. So I think that's kind of my plan there. I want to get some fresh footage out there. I'm going to be there on Thursday. And as soon as I get there, I'm pretty much going to be going to the show with the vendor badge to help out with the tables and stuff like that. And I'll walk around and take a look and see what I can find. Targeting wise, something's going to jump out at me. Going through like dollar bins like this, getting good deals, it's hard not to. But when you're at a big show like this, like I learned at the National, I could literally spend an hour and a half at one table because of how many dollar boxes they had. And the most important thing to a dollar box is getting there first, if not within the first few people, because everybody's looking for different stuff. What I'm looking for is not, I always want a card that I can buy for 35 cents. It's worth 40, but it doesn't have to be that. It can be worth $5, $10. And I like that. I just want to have stuff that always has better value than what I put into it. And or I like it enough to where I'm not going to move it anyway. And that's usually what I like to do. Oh yeah, it is Wednesday night. I'm sorry. So I'm going to keep going. That's right. It's Monday. Is that Wednesday? It is. Set up, whatever. Let's see here. I'm going to double check. I thought I had a thing on there. Maybe it is Wednesday night because that sounds right because Wednesday nights are normal night and tonight's Monday. I thought maybe Steve would be going live. I'm not sure what Steve's doing tonight. Yeah, that is Wednesday night. What do I know? All right, screw it. We're going to keep going. Party on. If there's anything you want me to talk about or you want to ask me about, let's go ahead and do it. Just have a little fun here if we can. Paul, what is it that you specifically collect or go after? Let's see what Steve's up to right now. What was this one card that I got? Yeah, but like I said earlier, this card right here, this metal card, I'm probably gonna have to get this graded. It's in really good shape. I don't think it's a 10. I think it's probably a 9, but a 9 is super hard to get. Super hard. You have the entire Hall of Fame football rookie set. Jeez. Wow. Now, do you do anything like with PSA or anything like that? Like, is this part of like one of those chase sets that people put together for PSA registries or anything, or you're just collecting one of each of those? That means you have a Jim Brown rookie. That's one of the cards I want really bad that I'll end up with at some point. Doesn't need to be a good grade. I'll take an authentic one. And then I also want to get into a Walter Payton this year. I almost pulled the trigger on one earlier, and I was like, I'm just going to wait a minute and see where that goes. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you can do the $30 grade, I mean, that's why I was watching them with SGC with Peter earlier. I like SGC a lot. My question to him was basically, at what point does he think there should be a standard for grading across grading services? Like, this is always this, and this is how you get a 10. Because the hobby, that's our biggest problem, is we don't know how to look at a card and get a 10. Because at the end of the day, we don't want to send a card in that's going to get an 8 a lot of times. Not a newer card, at least. Older cards, completely different. Even starting to go back into the 80s, it's hard to get sharp corners on cards like that. But at the end of the day, what's that scale look like? And then how does it differ? Like, what does 0.5 come off to? And what's that magnification that they always stick to? And I don't feel like that information's out there enough, which I don't know why it wouldn't be, because I'm sure somebody's been let go. Somebody could tell somebody else and they can say something about it. Whether or not it has validity is a completely different aspect. But that's super cool. But so, Paul, you're just a big football guy then. You don't really do any other sports, or that was just the goal and something you did and you had and you did, basically. What was one of the other things here? I have my sticky, icky woods here. Joe Burrow. Anybody rip any wax? It's been rough lately. Hey, St. Louis, how you doing? St. Louis Cardinals fan, 1990, and Blue Jays fan. That's awesome. You got two good teams there that you can be looking at one point playing each other in a World Series in the next few years. Because I've liked what both teams are doing, and I hope this baseball strike thing gets over with really quickly, because they don't need to strike. We don't need to. Baseball doesn't need anything slowing it down at all, because right now, baseball card hobby wise, outside of the newer Bowman product, and then Topps is going to be coming out here next week, I believe, for Series 1, which everybody's going to be chasing the Wander Franco rookies, basically, and some other stuff. Baseball can't afford to have any type of holdback, even spring training, even though they'll just bring all the rookies out. But, that's never exciting. But that's the thing that people don't realize. All the minor league players will just be playing in spring training leading up to them playing, if the pros aren't, coming off of whatever little argument they're having right now with the moderator crap. But they just need to move along. Give us baseball. They've had plenty of time to figure this out from last season. And I don't know why it takes till now in order to get any of this stuff done. It's always ridiculous in my mind. NASCAR cards. No, what's interesting is the two NASCAR cards I really want right now. I would love a Dale Earnhardt on-card signature from one of the main cards. It's just so many of them are streaky. I don't know if he just pressed really hard with the markers all the time, or the type of cards he's always signing didn't hold the ink very well. But Dale Earnhardt Sr., and then the other one's going to be a Jeff Gordon, either pre-rookie or rookie, because I know his super rookie card, he looks like he's about 15 with a horrible mustache growing in. So I don't really know, but I definitely want an early Jeff Gordon rookie auto, and then I definitely want a Dale Earnhardt Sr. The other guy that I really liked when I was watching NASCAR was Sterling Marlin, which I have a Coors can with a Kiss car inside of it, Kiss the band, and then I had him sign that can, and that was an in-person signing when I was going to the Daytona or the Pepsi 400. The first time it was under the lights at Daytona, and that was fantastic. That was being at a race and having those cars come by you, which I was down on the main pad, which you're not supposed to be when they come by. Man, that is literally like standing in the middle of a tornado. That's as close as I could say what that is. That is, the wind is intense. I have thought about the 92 Schumacher. I don't know what's going on with racing right now. I have some friends that are into definitely the F1 stuff. And I know the Schumacher is actually very readily available. It's not like it's a hard card to get. I just don't know if the overall desire for a market to make a card like that continually grow will continue to happen. The market seems to trigger off of new shiny in my face. And so many people don't even know who Schumacher is outside of just saying the name and saying he was the greatest. They didn't see him race. So that transition to liking somebody and collecting it isn't there. And, that's why so many of these 90s, 80s cards have really gone up so much, is because that generation that watched those people grow, are now gravitating towards those people again. And that big money's in the hobby. So if somebody has that like or admiration for somebody, they're going to go and get that card, pay a premium, and that premium is going to force the rest of the cards to follow. Just like we're seeing with the Mantle stuff, the Brady stuff, the Jordan stuff in the past. Yeah, if it'll flatten out, but all it does is hit a line, and then one big sale, and the next you know, off to the races again. Where modern cards were constantly always trying to figure out, what's he going to do this year? What's he going to do next year? What's the next thing coming up that he might have a record coming up he's going to break or tie or do. That's what it seems. Everybody's looking for a trigger with modern cards more than anything. And, it's always the whole who's the greatest thing. And we kind of already know who the greatest considerably is of a couple sports. And then there's a mix in between because you can't really argue with generations. You can just figure that each player would have done well in any generation you threw them in. And that's how I usually consider a Hall of Famer, is if I took him and put him in this year or era, would he had done well? And I think anybody that's playing now could have easily gone backwards and dominated. But that's also because of time, technology, skills training, and advancement. Because, they play the sport for a living now. And really far back in the day, you had a day job and then you played football. So that's just something people have to keep into a fact there. The thing that's interesting about the racing is I don't know how far the new women of racing is going to go, because we still don't have a woman champion. And I don't know if any of them have won a race against a male. And that's a very big deal. I know Danica Patrick came over. She did okay. She basically broke a lot of cars is what she did. But I think the hobby's looking for something to trigger it. And it's the same thing with wrestling right now, the new AEW. People are jumping all over that stuff right now because it's the fresh, shiny new toy. And when I go to a show and I see wrestling autograph cards and relics or whatever, they are so cheap compared to sports cards. And I don't know at what point there's going to be another change, because what happens if the next person that comes out of there becomes a superstar again? Then everybody's going to be running back and looking for these cards. So I think key attributes or players within the wrestling market, modern wise, you should take a look at, because some of the more popular people, I mean, you can get an autograph card of Seth Rollins for $80 maybe less. I know the women which obviously guys watch wrestling, see the women, yay, 80, 90, $100. You can get top tiered numbered auto of somebody. That's kind of crazy. Hey, what's going on, Jason? How you doing there, buddy? Sitting here talking about some stuff. Yeah, that UD set is crazy. It's definitely crazy. But yeah, if you look back at the 48 to 52 football stuff, that stuff, that ain't easy to find in good shape either. I mean, not at all. Not football. No way. Even hockey's the same way. I think baseball was the most collected. Um, Hockey's got a pretty decent amount of people that definitely hold on to their stuff, especially up north. Not so much down in the Florida area. Even though everybody transplant moves down, it just seems like there's a drop off in who kept what when they came down here. But we have a lot of baseball cards down here, and almost all these big collectors came from up north, like the New York area, Buffalo, stuff like that. And they come down here, and I always like to talk to a few of the guys, just get some background on them, get an understanding, what they're looking for, how they sell. Are they easy to deal with? Are they straightforward? Do they really care? Because some guys, they just don't care at all. Yeah, I don't know. The 48 boxing must have had somebody who cared when they were cutting it. That was the new guy that got fired 2 days later for eating a sandwich on the wrong lunch break, probably. But yeah, right. Most of that stuff's god awfully the way it's cut, and just obviously somebody didn't care, or was obviously in a hurry and just like to slice and dice boys. But old cards, I want to get more into some of the old cards. When I go to the shows and I see these guys that are set builders still, and they're looking for singles and commons to finish a set, and I'm always like, is it really that hard to find some of these singles or commons? I mean, I would assume there's always one on eBay, and I'm just like, are they just trying to get it for that cheap? Or I really don't get it, because if you really needed to complete a set, 5 or 6 cards, eBay, ComC, those are the easier ways to go to find stuff, but they're at a card show digging through a box. And I'm always like, maybe it's just a technology thing and they're not with it. I don't really know. I don't bother anybody. I let them do whatever they're doing there. They may enjoy that time that they're spending just looking through some cardboard, because I'm having a good time. But when I go to a show, time goes so fast. I'll tell my wife, I'll be back around 12. Oh, it's definitely 1:30. It's like there's an extra hour and a half always added to it, no matter what. And it's just because you find more, you start talking, you're looking, you're talking, you're looking. But my thing is, like even all the cards I just bought now, I have a bunch of cards I just don't really want to keep around anymore, and I'm going to need to either set up at a show or something and just kind of have some blowout boxes. So I want to start getting all that money and roping it into something greater, like consolidating into something bigger and better for a long-term hold. Because I'm not trying to buy and flip big cards. If it presents itself, sure. But at the end of the day, I like to buy low and then really sell high if I can. Perfect example is Joe Burrow right now. I took all my base rookie stuff from like Chronicles, the basic top stuff, random stuff like that, low end stuff, $5 to $10 cards, bundled them up, put them on eBay as soon as they advanced. Buy it now, 250. Boom, bought it now, 250. Same thing with my Jamar Chase, just the basic Jamar Chase stuff. Boom, put it up, gone. Same guy bought both, actually. I don't know if he just flips them. That's fine. I put them on for a decent price that I could move them and didn't have to play a game and wait, because everybody else was listing stuff. And I was like, I am not going to sit here and wait for everybody to list all these cards and just jump me. And then you just wait 7 days for an auction to end to try and make an extra $20. I didn't see there any value to me in that time versus money. And just waiting. I hate waiting for an auction to end unless I know it's something that's going to sell really well. I just want to watch that last 10 seconds of the thing just getting bid. There's just something about it. It's just fun. Yeah, the minimum qualifier for sure. Everybody wants everything to at least be considered authenticated. The Mickey Mantle I have here that I bought at that same show that I was at where I got all these deals from. That I paid $20 for this. And at worst, I'm assuming this is a 1, but a 1 sells for 100, $120. And I paid $20. So again, but that's something I'm just going to hold on to and keep. I just wanted it and I didn't want to spend the money for a nice one. So I just went that route instead. But we have 2 other shows that I'll probably be going to prior to going to the Atlanta show. The thing that sucks is they're both on the same day, so I may have to go to one show and then go to the other. I don't like doing that because I like to take my time at a show and hang out. But I may have to make a decision on one or the other and or both based on how much time I have for that day. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, here's something interesting. I picked these up. I don't know if you're even gonna be able to see them. Let's see if you can see through this. It's going to be hard with the light. There was a little Pele over me. So this is Pele, and this is an old 70s. Obviously looks better when the light comes through it. So I don't have my other handy light with me right now, but I can see it really well. But this is a Pele slide from the 70s and an OJ slide. Where's the stupid camera at? There it is. Back when he was playing before he decided to kill people. But yeah, this is an OJ slide, but these are from the 70s. And I came across, like, I don't even know how, I was searching for something else, and I think I was looking for Leroy Selman because it was a Leroy Selman slide, which is funny enough, I didn't win that one. Which, being a Bucks fan, I like adding stuff to my Leroy stuff, especially if it's rare. And I came across those, and this guy had a whole bunch of slides of Belindikoff, Buckus, a bunch of people. It was just bang, 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 bang. I was like, man, these are kind of cool. I like photography anyway, and I was like, let me see what these go for. And I think I got them for like $3 or $4 each. And I was like, that's cool. It's technically a historical photo, and now technically I own this slide, so I guess I own that photo. Is how that works. But it's whatever. It's just something fun. And every once in a while, I just come across. I was looking earlier at an inauguration ticket for Ronald Reagan. I don't know why. It just came up, and I was like, hey, why is that cool? And it's because it's in a card holder, and it's probably calling my name because it's in a card holder. But it's crazy. Oh, Ryan's knowledge is fantastic, Paul. Ryan's going to be the future of our hobby when holding information regarding vintage. And there's a gentleman for, I think, David Adams. I can't remember his name. He's well known, but all he does is go around and buy large lots of cards for, hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars. And he'll go to a town or a place and look through these collections sometimes for days to come up with an offer. And he's able to tell it's fakes, know what something's kind of worth, what it could be worth. And then, they get the information. He makes that offer and then buys it and then has to move it all. And I told Ryan that this needs to be your job in the future, is to take this guy's job, let him retire, you move into the slot, but, shadow him for a few years and get as much information as you can, and then adopt this awesome job where you get to travel and buy cards from people and enjoy and see the hobby and just learn, and then hopefully pass that on to somebody else to continue that information. That reminds me, I gotta go on Amazon and buy his book too, to have that, because I think that's definitely something really cool. And I'd like to have that first edition. Yeah, it was really weird too, Paul. We were at one of the shows and they were showing me um, a real and a fake Gaudi Lou Gehrig. They had a real one, they had a fake one, and it was interesting because it's like I'm looking at a card that's worth a crap ton of money, and obviously the fake one we have out in our hands, and the real one we had, it wasn't graded, it was in a penny sleeve, but he was showing side by side the thickness and coloring of the card, and then how different they truly were, and that's why he was saying you have to sometimes really feel a card or be able to see it from the side, especially a vintage card, in order to get the most out of what you're looking for that fake. Because they've gotten really good at fakes. People were making fakes a long time ago, and it's easy to have an old reprint. Babe Ruth has a bunch of old reprints, and they're very difficult if you don't know what you're looking for in order to realize that it's real versus fake. Modern cards a little bit different. I always wanted to make my own cards, and I dabble on the computer myself. I don't have the ability to print a card properly. Nobody will tell me how, when people are making these fake cards or reprints or whatever, how they print that card to look like that. Because, I'll print my own card. I'm not trying to fake anything out. I'm trying to do stuff for fun or entertainment or come up with new ideas. And I got ideas for multiple different companies, different cards, different names, designs. And I'm not just going to give it to them to use and then get nothing out of it. I just think that's stupid in my mind. It's like I'm tired of giving everybody ideas to improve their product, and then they use them and I don't even get a mention or anything like that. I don't like stuff like that. I'd love to work for possibly a card company, but I don't know the aspects of how that really works and the what the pay would be. You got to have a lifestyle that you want to try to uphold at the same time. Plus, a lot of these people, work very, very hard and work very long hours, nonstop to develop these things because it takes a lot of time. They're far ahead of us when a product's coming out. They're working on a product right now, probably that's come out for a year. And that's being, put in the work. And we don't realize that and the amount of work and time that goes into it and really thinking about that process that happens. But that's what it is. Yeah, Paul, I mean, it's a stimulus. It's what the stimulus is for you to spend it, right? So they're giving you money to spend into the market to keep everything going. And now they're going to want all of that money back, supposedly, even though it's just fake money they just printed. That's just another story, though. But yeah, no, it's just what do you hear? You got a raw 65 Namath. You sent that to SGC to 1.5. Adam Cole, 65 Namath. That's a nice card. Let me think. Usually at the show, I see a couple 65 Namaths, but one guy has it all the time, so it doesn't change very much. Um, so Joel, this is the way I look at it with grading. PSA 10 does 60/40 on centering. If 10 is their highest grade and you're telling me a card can be off centered by that much, to me, it's not a 10. I almost feel like PSA should have an 11 or gold label or something, because no card, and we've seen cards worse than 60/40 get a 10, especially modern cards. I looked at a Herbert the other day that was maybe 30/70 easily just by looking at it, and that's not a 10. And I don't like that the market values the PSA 10 over an SGC or BGS. BGS with the subgrades, it creates more of a dilemma for people, because as soon as you see a 9, you want a 9.5. Then you see the 9.5 and you're like, well, I want all 9.5s, or I need a 10, two 9.5s and a 9 to make me feel better about it. And then if you have the stupid money, you go 10. If you have ridiculous money, you go black label. So black label BGS is by far the most expensive version of a graded card you can get. And I've always said, if you truly think this card's perfect, you have to go for a black label. Because even if you get a 10, it's still better than an SGC Gold, still better than a PSA 10. So the BGS to me trumps all the other cards when you start to get into high grades. And that's why I see all these old cards in BGS holders, because BGS was king. They have a thicker, nicer slab. It protects the card better. Um, it looks better with their label. SGC is starting to catch up to PSA. They truly are, especially with the $30 grading, and they're getting it back to you quickly. You know, Peter that was on tonight, he said the biggest problem they're having is slabbing the cards. Not that they're out of plastic, just the process of slabbing the cards. Grading the cards, they're fine with getting a lot of them out. It's the slabbing that they're running into and having the people to do it, because it's kind of a tedious process to get those cards in there and slabbed. It's not as easy as pressing the button once you lay it in there. You have to make sure that goes down and the card doesn't move. Because if it does, like he said, they might damage 2 out of 100 cards or 1,000 cards, whatever it may be, but that's too many, because you never know what that card is that they're going to damage. But I think BGS at a high grade is by far the most valuable card in the hobby. Secondary, I'd go SGC. 10 gold label would equal a PSA 10, but I think an SGC 10 and a PSA 10 are the same level. I just think an SGC gold is closer to a pristine for a BGS, because SGC doesn't give you 60/40 on centering. If you send them a 60/40 card on centering, you think you're getting a 10? No, not going to happen. That's why people send it to PSA. You get a higher grade for a lesser card. And that's how I feel about those. Not saying, the thing is, not all PSA 10s are created equal. And that's sad. And I'm not saying sad under the fact that it's just barely a little different. Some of them are drastically different. And that's the problem I have. And those cards should never even have been given a 10. That's how I feel about it. And this is part of the reasons why I've never sent a card to get graded. Is like, am I grading on current value outcome, assuming that I'm getting a 9 or a 10? Do I want that at a PSA or not? And that's why someone will take a PSA 9, send it to Beckett, and get a 9.5. And you're like, how does that happen? Because PSA is 9 to 10, the qualifiers change. And that's why we were saying that if there was a standard for grading, it'd be easier for us to figure this out before we even send the card, and or be able to say this is why this card got this way. And that's part of the transparency with BGS that people like so much, is you can tell where they found the deficiency in the card and why they gave it the grade. Now, the point system they use to get there, that I don't understand, because I've never seen it laid out, and how much damage of something under a certain level of microscopic view takes a half a point off at a time, because they obviously do it half a points at a time, unless something's serious, though. Yeah, no, Joel, that's just it's sad because the hobby's becoming more and more boisterous in this, and that's what was really interesting watching Peter on the Slab Stocks channel earlier, because he sat there and fielded a lot of questions. And I don't know Peter; I've only met him like once or twice, but he's a kind of like a straightforward, no nonsense type of guy from what I saw, and is laser focused for the most part. And he's trying to get SGC out of the modern era grading hole because people keep turning to PSA. And PSA is not turning stuff around quick right now. They're still holding cards for over a year of people that sent stuff in on a 30-day grade. So, I mean, I feel like PSA is stretching this out on themselves, or they're not telling us that they're struggling in certain areas. Because we haven't seen, what's his name, who owns PSA now. I can't think of it right now, but the guy that owns PSA, he hasn't come out and said anything in a while at all. BGS never says anything, but they're old school and they're just like, to me, the cranky old man in the corner, but he does it right. But SGC, who's always been the kind of the king for vintage, they're pushing everything else. And this $30 card grading and getting stuff back in a month is doing it at that level higher than anybody else. Now, there are other grading companies that are good. I just don't know what overall long-term value, because CSG has to change the slab. That's what everybody complains about. I really like the holder CSG comes in, like how clear it is. I think they're a very tough grade because they have the Beckett guys over there. They do the subgrades as well. To get a 10 over there feels like it's harder to get a 10 there than it is at a BGS. But it's just, that's just how it is. It shouldn't be easy to get a 10, and PSA makes it feel like it's easy to get a 10, and then people use that as gospel. Um, I can crack a PSA slab with my bare hands, just taking it and cracking it, and I know that because I've done it. I can't do that with the BGS, and I can't do it easily with an SGC. SGC, I got to throw my weight into it. But a PSA, I can grab like this and pop it hard enough to break it. Yeah, no, scoop up those SGC 9.5s. I don't even know if I would crack them. SGC is moving really quickly unless you're just trying to flip real quick. I bought a Wander Franco Mojo Bowman first in an SGC 10, and I'm not going to crack that. Like, there's no reason for me to even try to get a PSA 10 with it. Should a PSA 10? 100%. But if you're buying an SGC 10, you should know you already have at minimum a PSA 10, if not possibly a BGS 10. And that's how I look at it. In my mind, that's how the grade scale falls with value to me right now with the way the market's reacting. But the market's not thinking about it that way because nobody has mentioned it to them for them to think about. Because PSA has definitely lost its luster in the hobby for value because SGC's crept up so much, and then BGS has crept up so much. And it's because people were like, oh, crack to flip. Well, now they're realizing that crack to flip, I'm cracking a better card in a worse grade to flip to a worse or a easier grading company, I guess to say. I'm taking a BGS 8.5 and I'm turning it into a PSA 9. And that's just telling me that a PSA 9 is worth an 8.5 in a BGS. So you see, that's the scale when I'm thinking about it in my head. I think a 9.5, for instance, my Mike Trout Bowman first auto is a true 9.5 for a Bowman for a BGS. So all 9.5s with a 10 auto. And I bought that one deliberately that way, way back in the day before he was even as big as he is now. And I was like, I want one with all 9.5s, and it was hard to find. But I did find one and ended up buying it way back then. I think that was 2013 is when I bought that. But now I wish I would have bought 100 of them, but whatever, it is what it is. What Paul says here, every day I will search for auction CGS vintage football. Yeah. I'll look for anything in a slab. Like, I'll just type in a grade of a number for a card and look for any slab, and then try to make a determination based off of that data. BCCG is one of those things that you can super win on and you can super lose on. But I hate it when I see a BCCG 10 and they're asking for a PSA 10 price. That is not the same. Not saying the card inside can't be as nice, because it can. But man, the way they threw out 10s back then, it was, I don't think they used a magnifying glass ever. Kind of just held it in their hand, scratched some numbers down, gave it the four steps, and just kind of moved along with life. That's all they did. Basically just picked the card up, and they're like, oh, yeah, looks like good. It's good 10 centering. Edges look good. No dings on the corners. Back looks good. Probably didn't even look at the surface. It's a 10. And then they go slab it. And that's the next time. So they put their 10 seconds in a card, and they've now moved along. That's one of the questions I have too, is how fast PSA is grading cards right now, and how long they're taking a look at cards. I'm sure I don't know how the process is. If I send them 5 different versions of cards, where I'm talking about sending them a vintage card, ultra modern, mid modern, highly sensitive, very valuable card, are all those going to the same guy grading them, or are now these broken into pieces and they find their way back to my box at the end of the day after grading? I don't know how that works. I don't know if they just grade the submission that I sent, or if that's broken into based on, who knows the most about certain cards and the way they grade. And then once they get slabbed, they all come back to me. I don't really know how that works for any of the companies. I don't know if anybody's really had that detailed information. Yeah, you can get 80% off the right car. That is 100% true right there. You just have to be mindful of what's going on with certain cards and what they look like. When I go to a show, that's obviously seeing something in hand is by far the most important thing, because when you can pick it up and take a really good look at it, and I got a magnifying glass. I don't know if it's up here right now. I got a little magnifying loupe that I keep in my pocket. That's a 10 times loupe. I'll pull that sucker out and look at something in a case. Like, I have zero issues doing that in front of people. And I always try to negotiate a price before I start pulling out the loupe. Because then I want to make sure something's set in stone, versus them being like, oh, this guy really wants this. Let's go ahead and bump the price up on this guy a little bit. Let's play a little bit of a game. Hey, Shane, how you doing out there? You pick up anything lately? We're just kind of rambling off. Beginning of the show, I showed off a bunch of cards I picked up this past weekend at the card show, and then the little flea market that I went to, and just showed off a couple of things. My 2 best cards technically are Marvel related, which is funny. But you just got to know what to look for, I guess. And everybody's knowledge is different. This is one of the reasons I really enjoy watching all the shows. Is just to get as much knowledge as possible, because anybody can go on eBay and just look for sold stuff and try to figure out what sold for the highest. But we all know there's outliers for sales, especially on eBay, that sometimes does not dictate what the card is really worth. Like they always talk about drug trafficking with what's the guy's name? Not Tatis, but the old card that for some reason sells for a ton of money. No, Retro Fan, I'm not always worried about that. But when I'm collecting a lot of the cards that I'm collecting that are bigger cards of value, I want to make sure they have sustainable value for the most part. And putting it in a grade, because remember, I've never graded a card. But if I'm buying a graded card, I want the best card I can buy for my money. And that's what I'm trying to figure out. A PSA 10 in my mind is not always the best graded card versus a BGS 9.5 or even an SGC 10, or sometimes even a 9.5, because they grade tougher. So I'm getting a better card. That's why looking at the card is so important. So many people buy cards just based on looking at the slab. They don't look at the card. And that's what gets me upset, because people come, oh, look at this card I picked up. And I'm like, centering on this thing is horrible. I don't know how I got a 10. Why would you buy this one? That's the type of stuff. So if I'm going to spend good money, not if I'm just pulling stuff out of pack, going through dollar bins, I don't really care. I'm buying the stuff to put in my collection for that player that I collect, because I collect sets. Like, I still have binders, and these cards that are in the card holders, I'll throw them in a binder and just leave them in a binder. I don't really care. I'm not trying to grade the card. I'm trying to just keep it and have it for me. But at the end of the day, somebody's going to have to do something with all this stuff. And I don't want to buy a bunch of stuff that feels going to be worthless later either. If I like it, I like it. That's fine. But at the end of the day, either I'm going to have to get rid of this or my family is. And I want to make sure that at least I'll have something for them. But I'm enjoying this while I'm doing it. And that's kind of like a goal. The goal is to really get rid of all this stuff so I don't have to deal about it at some point in my life and just enjoy that part of my life. But right now, I enjoy cards in my life. I enjoy doing this, and it's something that's done from my childhood. But right now, grading and slabs are what's controlling the hobby. Um, this is the comment I'm referring to from Retro Fan, but you know, I know Retro Fan SGC over PSA if in the right grade, 100%. Again, that's why my Wander Franco, I didn't get a PSA 10. I went and got an SGC 10. I paid the money for the SGC 10. You know, they were when I was at the National, people were walking around asking for Wander Franco, Bowman First Mojo cards, and an in a PSA 10, and they were paying $250 for that. And I was like, uh, I don't think A, that card at that time's worth $250, and B, I don't like most of the PSA ones because they're just not centered well. So I was like, I'm gonna go find an SGC. I couldn't find one at the show, not in a 10. 9.5 was the highest one I wanted, and he wanted 280, and I'm like, I'm not paying 280 for this. So I ended up having to go while I was at the National buying one online on eBay for $240 in an SGC 10. I could only find one at that time, and which was bummed because I would have bought 4 of them easily because I think Wander Franco's going to be a great player, and his Bowman First Chrome autos are $1,400 and up raw, and they're just getting to the point they're in the stratosphere, and that's why when Topps comes out, and then Topps Chrome later this year, the Wander Franco cards, I'm going to be chasing a few of those and seeing what I can get because I like breaking cards, love opening wax, like getting into breaks. That's my form of gambling. I don't go to the casino. I don't care to. Don't play scratch offs. So that's kind of like where I go for that type of stuff. Yeah, the Top Series Wander stuff. The only thing that stinks about Top Series 1 is at the end of the day, we all want Topps Chrome and the autos, but the variation colors of the Wander coming out of Topps is going to be where you're going to want to stick. You're going to want to stick to the gold card. If they have any type of anniversary card, because I don't know if they're an anniversary year, which I believe we might be for baseball, which like the Trout Diamond anniversary is huge. So if we're in an anniversary year, you're going to definitely want that card. Or if they come out with any top sapphires of this card, those are going to be huge as well. That's the thing is they keep coming out with like a card that trumps another card. And in baseball, your Bowman First Chrome auto is usually your big boy. That's why the Bowman product is so sought after, and so many people break it, and everybody's chasing super fractors and things like that because those can be your flawless or your Brady's contender auto. That's what that can be in the future if the guy's the right guy. But there's so many right guys right now. In your mind, who's the best player in baseball right now? If you had to choose the best player in baseball minus injuries, who is it? Because mine's Fernando Tatis Jr. He should be a 40-40 guy, but he has to put together a full season. Like to me, Aaron Judge will never be in the Hall of Fame. He's a power hitter. He's going to keep getting hurt over time. Rarely will probably have a whole season. He's just a Yankee, and he's a power hitter. And I think he's awesome, but I don't think he's going to be able to sustain a long enough career to become a Hall of Famer. Yeah, but I don't know if SGC is going to go under 30 right away. And if they did, it's going to be a longer time frame to get the turnaround. I think at the $30 price point, which is fast as they're turning it around right now, I think there's a lot of value. My thing is when you start grading a lot of cards really fast, you don't end up with a lot of 10s. I don't care what service you go through, which company. I want people to take their time. And I don't want the new guy. I want the old guy. So like here in the Tampa area, we have a few really big graders for multiple different companies here that are bulk submitters. They have their own grader. So when they send their cards in, the same guy looks at the cards that this guy sits in all the time, and he's seasoned. I want that. And that's where a group submission with the right guy, not the marked card stuff, goes a long way. You're going to get extra care for your cards. You're going to have somebody truly looking at it and knows what they're doing. You're going to get it back in a timely manner. And it's with a person that's going to keep it safe as long as you trust and know them. And I think that's a big deal. Yeah, ultra modern cards right now, even when I'm watching stuff in trade, unless it's rare numbered, you're not seeing much of it right now. I mean, ultra modern across the board outside of football, especially right with Burrow, outliers basically. No, everybody's still a few years behind when they're wanting cards, especially in heavy trade, because everybody has the modern stuff. Unless it's super low pop number, everybody has it. It's not rare at all. And a lot of this stuff's going to be held. It's not going to be like it was back in the day where people just threw stuff away. I mean, you'll lose some stuff here and there to a fire, somebody accidentally throwing something away. But for the most part, this stuff's going to keep getting regurgitated and recirculated, in the hobby for a decade or more before anything starts to maybe phase out. But usually a rare card's always going to end up in a collection, and it's going to stay there until it catches fire or they sell it, one or the other. So he's gives credit cards to her. No, Kyle's a good guy. Kyle's busting his butt, man. I'm gonna tell you this right now. That man is busting his butt running around. I constantly see him everywhere, and I talk to him. He wants my 1993 SP baseball wax. I have a box of that sealed still, the Jeter year, and he wants that. And I told him if he wants it, he's gonna have to go find me a Brady Chrome raw or something, because right now the graded ones are just ridiculous. I don't have one. I don't know how I didn't get one. I opened a bunch of that product, and I definitely should have had one of the Brady Bowman first back in the day, and I don't know why I don't have it. I know I did have his Quantum, but I sold that in a set of cards way, way back. I think probably right before he won his first Super Bowl. Yeah, Tatis can't field that well. I agree, but unfortunately, they don't take fielding into an extreme account like they do hitting and all the other attributes. Because I don't think fielding has anything to do with WAR either, or if it does, it's not very much. And since WAR is such a big determining factor for a player's value now, that's just that new number that everybody chases as the WAR. Dylan Cease is awesome. Mackenzie Gore is awesome. Sixto is awesome. Watch out for the Tigers as well. They have a couple guys. Casey Mize is over there. And what's the other guy's name? I don't know why it's slipping my mind. I like both of them, though. They're really good. I think the pitchers in the league, we're seeing that really heavy shift. Because if you think about the old guys like the Kershaws and the Verlanders and the Greinke's, the Scherzers, that type of group of guys, they're slowly phasing out. This next crop coming in is our next guys, and we're seeing that turnover across baseball with all the juniors, because we're in the era of juniors, and that's going to be. It's just everybody's going to be a son of a previous player basically, and these people have been brought up in through a system that other people have never been able to reach. And you're going to have those outlying people, but like when I look at like what people spend on Torkelson right now, or Mountcastle, Mayer, Austin Martin, I I see good numbers out of them, but I see so many good numbers out of very similar other minor leaguers that I don't see them being the pinnacle of a player. Jason Dominguez, after I met him in person, like I figure this is this big power guy, right? Because that's the kind of sale. This guy's power, hits, blah blah blah. I feel like I was like a foot taller than this dude. Like I felt like I was talking to Altuve, and I was like, I'm taking. He's only 18, 19 years old, but I'm like, I was like, I don't see this guy having this type of potential that unless he hits a growth spurt. I'd like to see if you can find a picture of Dominguez and Judge standing next to each other, you'd have a really good idea how small Dominguez truly is, because he's kind of like this like mid-tier guy that's kind of pudgy. Personally, he may look big in his photos, but he's not. So yeah, Scooble. I like Scooble probably better than Mize, and I have Casey Mize's Bowman Chrome first red base card numbered to 5. So I have a big card of Mize. Not graded, obviously, because I've never graded a card. Probably should grade that one because that one looks super minty, and there's only 5 of them, so almost doesn't even matter if it grades a 9 or less. It's not going to grade 9 or less. It's going to be 9 or higher, for sure. This is I've already had like 3 people try to buy it from me, and I've told them all pound sand, just because I like the guy, and unless I'm going to turn it into something I like more, I just hold it. I'm a hold guy. Um, Not as much as a flip. I just know that when I buy something and I'm getting value for it, it makes me feel a little better, I guess. And that's why I was going through the cards that were super cheap. I love going through those, like, again, those bins that are 3 for a dollar, buy 10 for $5. I'll do that all day long. But I'm always looking for new people at a show too. So remember that. You go to a show a lot and you see the same main vendors. That's fine. They turn cards over. That's just how they make a living. But look for the guy that might be the first time at a show, or I haven't done a show in 2 years, or I got all these cards and I'm just blowing them out. I'm tired of them being at my place. That's the guy you want to go through, because he didn't go through those boxes usually. He just threw them out there. He figures there's nothing in them. You got to go through them and do the work now, because he ain't willing to. So, and then you just got to hope he doesn't turn and burn one on you where he's like, oh, this card's worth this much money, and now I didn't know this was in there, because that's the game they like to play. I've noticed a few guys, and they'll pull a card. You'll pull a card and be look at this, like, oh, I recognize it's like a $20 card. Oh, I didn't know this was in there. I can't sell that to you for that, but I'll make a deal for you. They'll play that little bit of a game, and I don't like it when people do that. When they do that, it's them trying to cover up what they just messed up on and or being dishonest, and I just don't like it. Rhys Hoskins, he was doing well hitting homers. Yeah, he may. Hoskins just like kind of fell off the earth. Like, he was on this massive hot streak. And even with Bryce Harper over there, you figure he'd see more pitches, and it hasn't translated. I mean, he's got great power, but man, I don't know. He's got to be in the right place. I mean, I look at anybody that goes to Yankee Stadium, because that ballpark is just made for home runs, especially on the side. And it's just one of those things that, it can greatly improve your career. But are you really that good? Like, they were showing a thing the other day of top players for the Yankees, and at third base starting, they had DJ LeMahieu. So that's the best third baseman the Yankees have ever had, is what that's telling me. And I'm just like, I don't know, but I was looking at the whole list, because they just did starters, and the majority of them were not old players; they were new players. And I just sometimes don't think the older generation gets as much credit, especially in baseball, because they didn't have batting gloves and the nicer batting helmets and all the fancy bats and shoes and perfectly manicured lawns. Like, these guys are out there, swinging barehanded, vibration up the arm, big ass bat, baseball that was hard as hell. And it's just like, if they played today, they would put up another 20 to 30% numbers, power wise, hit wise, whatever. Ichiro, for instance, watching him hit, phenomenal. Like, phenomenal. They used to tell me too, Wade Boggs, great average hitter. What's interesting is Wade Boggs had a massive amount of power. He never used it. That's the funny part. They say back in the day, because he went to school at Plant High School, which is like 2 blocks from my house here, and he still hit the longest home run out of that park, because there's basically a baseball field and then a half of a football field, which is probably about 30, 40 yards wide, and then there's a street. He hit a home run to the street. I don't know how many feet that is, but that's stupid. And he's the only player to do that in Plant High School history. So they used to tell me, though, he would hit so many home runs in batting practice early years with the Red Sox. So that's how he would warm up before he would start hitting line drives places. So that just shows you that he chose to hit for average, not power. Versus today, you have to hit for power because that's where the money's at. Oh no, Paul, 100% people do that. So one of the things that I also do when I'm at a table and I'm looking through bins that might have different value is I always grab my stack, and I'll be like, when I'm done with them, like, these are from the dollar bin. I have 10 of them right here. I want to put these right over here. I don't keep them there yet. People do try to pull shady stuff. I've seen people too, like they'll take the card out of the top loader. So they'll pull a card out of this top loader, this dollar one right here, to look at it, but they'll put another one back in it that they know is worth more money, and they'll be like, this one's now $1. And unless the guy knows what he's looking at, because a lot of times they just take your word for it too. So that's the thing that kind of sucks. But I pay mind to that. Unfortunately, like I'm standing there, I have a tendency to just look at what everybody else is doing, and yeah, no, we've caught a few people doing that before. I mean, that's just what people do. Yeah, I hope this is a Tiny Trout's year because my Trout card, it's gone up a ton from when I bought it way back, and it's he's always been considered the best player in baseball. But you know what, a ring would go a long way, or even just an appearance, past just a regular playoff game, in a championship series would do it. And they're building that team to have a true opportunity. They still need pitching. What's funny is Ohtani doesn't want to keep pitching; he wants to hit. And I don't know what the team's going to do because they need him to probably pitch and hit at least one more year, because long term, if he wants to win championships, possibly be a Hall of Famer, all things he wants to do, he can't do it doing both. He'll tear his body up. You're talking about a guy that'll have an 8-year career and will never achieve any of his goals because of it. And I think that's kind of where he's at right now, is that he wants to achieve these goals, and they're a little bit more important to him. And if the Angels don't win within the next 2 years, I don't see Trout there. I don't see Ohtani there. Rendon will be gone. I mean, that team will be in straight rebuild mode, whether they're drafting with all the picks they're going to get, or they're just acquiring a bunch of mid-tier guys to make a full team. Yeah, the White Sox, they're an interesting one because they have such a young core, and Tim Anderson's a great hitter. He doesn't get any love in the hobby, really. But with Luis Robert and Eloy Jimenez, if these guys keep breaking down or getting hurt, whatever it is that's happening to them, getting hurt really, but keeps happening throughout the next year or two, they're not going to have a full, long, good career. They'll have 1 or 2 good years, and outside of that, they're going to be poor man's Javi Baez. And that's just how they're going to be. And, consistency is what the key is. Look at Freddie Freeman. Nobody gave him a ton of love until after them winning World Series. And he still doesn't get the amount of true love that he probably should for being such a consistent player for so long. And it's just because he's not boisterous, he's not out there, he's not, flashy. Like a Tatis, he's flashy. He jumps around, all the kids like him. He likes to showboat, or whatever he does. It looks cool, and that's what people like. And the group of people right now that are spending a lot of money in this hobby, recognize talent. A lot of them like flair, because this big money that's in the hobby isn't the money that's been sitting there the whole time. You're talking about athletes that never collected sports, that have a ton of money, that dropping $20K on a card is not a big deal. But you know what? I want a solid Tatis. My guy says this is the one, I'm going to buy it. All the rappers that are in the game, all the shoe guys, you got the basketball guys buying baseball cards. You got the baseball guys buying basketball cards. Same thing with football. So you have this like kind of overlap of this big money that's being thrown around for these big cards. You got these companies that are breaking them into pieces, and then somebody coming in and buying them after everybody buys a share. And that process, sports cards have become the new art for collecting, because there's people that aren't collecting art anymore, and they've now literally moved into sports cards. If they can't buy and flip houses, they're buying sports cards, but they're buying the big ones. And they're not looking to flip it tomorrow. They're looking to flip it later and or sell shares of it until somebody comes along to buy it out for even more. That's just what they're looking for. What's interesting with Devers is realistically his stuff isn't super expensive for as good and how young he is, and being on the Red Sox for that matter. Because that team now is right back into the driver's seat for being in a playoffs and possibly winning a World Series. They got a few more moves they need to make. But outside of that, very young team. I don't know what's going to happen with Bogaerts there, because Bogaerts is one of the best players in baseball that nobody pays attention to. And they have Verdugo over there now, who's done really, really well. Its pitching is really they struggle at more than anything. And, Devers, he's got a couple years to really figure this out. And if he doesn't, then he's just not that guy. And that's just kind of where when I'm looking at it long-term from a player that I've already prospected for a while. Same thing with Vladdy. Like, how long can Vladdy stay fit? And at what point does Vladdy be like, Prince Fielder, here I come, and just hits the buffet? I don't know. Same thing with Bo Bichette. Does he ever produce the power he's going to need to have with the average? And we've already seen Kevin Biggio just kind of fall off. Does he ever come back? Like I said, you have so many of these juniors, even if their last name's not junior, these second generation of previous players playing that are already in a better position than their parents were, with more schooling and teaching and ability. It's just, now, does the hobby accept them? And does that create an acceleration of the card? Or is it just going to be about who has a hot week, who has a hot month? Does their team make the playoffs? Does it even matter? We've seen the effect a lot with basketball, especially, leading into the finals, everything's up, and then you win a championship, and then for the most part, cards go down. And that's very common because the whole baked into pricing, and that is real to a certain extent, but it also creates a new floor. So the new floor is the new baked in price. There's just always the inflation at the beginning of it before things settle out. And then sometimes it doesn't. It just goes up for a while. Yeah, again, stick with numbered cards, low pop, lots of autos. The thing, too, is think about it. Get into the early stuff as much as possible, because if these guys are going to have a 10, 15-year career, they're going to be signing probably a million things, literally a million things over that time frame, and a million autographs that are just floating out on card or in stickers or whatever it may be. It's just one of those things when I'm thinking about and why I buy certain things when I'm buying them for me and or to hold long term, is simply due to the fact that it's going to be more desirable than everything else that's coming after it. And that's usually the target. Like Kyle Lewis, but I don't know. I didn't see as much as I wanted to that second wave of him, and that was my concern. Again, Seattle, another young team. What's going to happen with Sanchez over there? No, not Sanchez, Rodriguez over there, because you're getting ready to get like 4 Rodriguezes to enter the league at one time. And which one's going to be the good one? At the end of the day, who holds up to it? I look at a lot of these guys too. They're very thin. I figure most of these guys have a little more meat on them going through the systems, and they really don't. And just kind of like, some of these guys are just so thin. They need to get a little power to them. No, I don't think Bauer comes back into the league, period. He's in that blackballed type situation. I don't think anybody wants to touch him. I think a lot of players don't like him. Everybody in most front offices don't want anything to do with him. They'd rather have a guy with less ability and doesn't say a damn thing and doesn't bring turmoil to a team. At this point, Bauer looks like he's more of a cancer than anything, unfortunately. So I don't know where he might pitch in Japan or something. This is true. They can't. And that's why targeting certain rookie autos of players, or whatever you want to call a Bowman first, since it's technically a pre-rookie card. That's why the Topps rookie card becomes so valuable secondary. That's one of the things that drives me nuts, though. So let's say, for instance, like Tatis is rookie. Then he has 2 years of cards in Bowman product that aren't his rookie card, and they're not his Bowman first card, but they predate the rookie and they post-date the Bowman first card, but they're less valuable than the rookie card and even sometimes the second-year card. And it's like, I don't quite get that. And then all of a sudden, if you look at some of the older cards, you remember the minor league cards everybody would get, they're horrible looking cards, but now people sometimes pay a ton of money for them. And I'm just like, for the longest time, nobody gave a crap about that card, like at all. Like, why did it become valuable all of a sudden? I don't get it. It's not like it wasn't readily available forever, and it's technically not even rare for a lot of those minor league cards. You would think they were, but they would literally hand them out some nights to everybody. Whether or not they were kept, obviously that's a different story. But Yeah, they don't make rookies after the rookie cards. The thing is, there's so many sets making rookies now that you just got to target those top tier ones. And that's usually what I do. I try to target the top tier ones. No, I haven't. I didn't read about Mason Greenwood. I know who Mason Greenwood is. I didn't read anything about whatever's going on with him. Well, if that's the case, then he's not going to be playing soccer anymore. They're very strict on stuff like that over there. Usually things like this don't get out over there. It's either paid off or buried before it ever gets that far. If that's the case, he's pretty much out as a soccer player, period, unless somehow they can wash it. But if it's out there and there's any validity to it, he's pretty much, his career is now over. He basically went Henry Ruggs. Yeah, I mean, the perfect example is Henry Ruggs. Yes, collectability would be gone if that's truly the case. Yeah. Yeah, I do know what you're talking about. I don't have a 92 Lynch card, baseball card. I do know what you're talking about. Just one of those things. He's a football player, and they want him as a football player. It's kind of like the Russell Wilson baseball card too. For a while, that was a big deal. They did make an auto version of that card, so there is a little bit of a twist to that one for the Russell Wilson. But the base version of that only sells for a couple bucks. It's not anything crazy compared to his football rookie card. I guess the biggest turnover player for rookie card wise value are basically your Michael Jordan and Bo Jackson, and then would be Dion Sanders. For guys that played two sports, even if it was drafted by one or the other. Because you got to remember, Tom Brady was originally drafted by the Expos, but they never made a card, which they could have, which was surprising Bowman didn't. Because back then, Bowman felt like every person had a card. It didn't matter if you were undrafted, you got a baseball card. Just if you were entered into the draft, they would give you one. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll go and look. Do you know if what is the John Lynch 92 card in? Let's see, 1992 John Lynch. I have an autograph rookie card of him that I got in person. His Topps 1993 Buccaneers card is with 4 players on it. One of them is passed, which I have that guy's auto, Demetrius DeBose, on there. And there was 3 other guys, 2 other guys, and John Lynch. And I have John Lynch signed his, Demetrius signed, and I didn't get the other 2 guys for some reason. But I definitely, that's my only John Lynch in-person autograph card that I'd ever gotten. I do have another auto of him. But that one, obviously, I got as a child because we used to go to training camp every day for 2 days. Parents would just drop us off there. We would basically hang out in the middle between the first and second practice because it was 2 days. Basically, at 2 hours, you went back out there and you started another practice. And that's what Sam White was here, though. Yeah, it's at the upper deck there. There's Flea Excel from 92, 93. And then, yeah, him in the Miami Marlins. And he's actually got a 92 Stanford card also for football. Classic upper deck. He's got quite a few of them. There's one with a full team set of the Erie Sailors of John Lynch. Let's see if I can. Boom. There we go. Look at this. Erie Sailors. But here's some John Lynch. Here's the upper deck one. Here's his SP for football, or 93. This is 92 Stanford. Look at what they want for that sucker. Huh. I always try to look back at some of these cards and also look and see if they did make any type of a parallel. Like I know this card has a silver parallel to it, where this whole thing's foil. I'll see one readily available. But usually when I'm looking for something like this, if I'm going to target a card, I'll look for the parallel or the set that has the parallel before I get anything else just to try and see what's available. Yeah, the 93.4 Sport, they need to burn all of it. Every single last piece of it should be burned. One of the things I do when I go through wherever, like when I go to yard sales, sometimes I'll buy a 5-row box of cards, and obviously most of it's like 87, 1990 Topps, 91 Flea, just garbage stuff. And I make sure that stuff ends up in the garbage can. Like I don't donate it, I don't drop it off at Goodwill. No, that needs to go to the garbage. Get it out of here. If I need to, I'll start a fire in the backyard and I'll burn it myself because it just needs to be gone. Hey, look who this is. It's Sister 19 online. I don't know what Sister 19 wants, but we're going to put Sister 19 in timeout to be nice. Thanks for watching, though. Let's see here. Anybody here know about Jersey Fusion? There's only 12 of us, but does anybody, or has anybody opened any Jersey Fusion? What are your thoughts on Jersey Fusion? Because I find it very, very interesting. Could have been done a little better, but I do like certain aspects of it, and I have bought a few. I'm going to show you. Let's see if I can get my other camera here. Let's go back. No, add, remove camera. So I'm going to show you one of my Jersey Fusions, or a couple of them that I've picked up. So the most recent one that I got, if I can find them, because I just moved everything around on my desk. Here we go. So they come in these boxes, look like this. All right. And then when you open it up, you have a card inside of a case. Where does this thing open? Shows you how much I know. But like, here's a Wayne Gretzky. All right. So it's got a piece of the jersey, and you're probably like, Wayne Gretzky did have an orange jersey when he played for the Oilers. But if you would basically, if you take this card out of this and you go to the back here and you scan this, it pulls up the jersey that this came from, and it'll tell you some information about it, or authentication, or sometimes more detailed or not. Now, this is from an All-Star game, from I think 85, yeah. So it's a 1985 All-Star game piece. It's a white and orange jersey, has stars and stuff on it. Somebody put this up. It's $20. Now these usually to get into at a hobby shop are about $40. It's one card. You can get nice stuff. It's like right here's a Jerry Rice with a nice chunky patch off of the patch numbering, which is part of the 80. What's interesting too with like Rice and a lot of these players, that not all their jerseys back then were stitched. You know, they had that plasticky, weird feel over the top of the knit. There was no patches. If anything, the only thing you're going to get that was like a logo or a patch would have been literally the laundry tag. Everything else was like kind of just heat synced onto the jersey. But this is a nice patch right here. I don't pay much attention to the numbering on these cards, just because they make these to 99 and they can have equally as nice of a patch. So they don't really do that much for me in those instances. Where's this one? This one I really liked. Mario Lemieux. This is part of the numbers of the 6 right here. You can actually see it where it would come off that edge, the way the 6 is made. So that's just right there, part of the 6. These are also in a mag. Oh yeah, I think that would be great. I thought about doing a sports card wall for a backdrop, because I'm going to redesign my man cave and to have like more of a setting behind me. And I was looking at doing something like a wall of some sort. With the box. If I do a wall, though, it's going to be of a cool card or something that I like. I'm not going to use the junk. I still think that should find its way to death. Oh yeah, for instance, yeah, Paul, 100%. What's interesting in these, I'm going to pull one of these apart in a video soon, but basically this is what it is. There's a piece over the top of the jersey, right? The jersey is then glued to another clear piece, so it's not glued to the card. The card sits in between that, and then this piece that's the scan is another card that's on top of the card. That's why you can see the back of it. So you can literally take this out, put whatever card you want in here just by removing the back and laying it back in here, and then putting the mag back together. You obviously would break the sticker, but you know, keeping them for yourself, who cares? And then this will always give you information on the actual jersey. And I just think that's cool that I can basically convert this to something I like, because I was thinking about taking that card out and then putting this card in, the older thing. And now the patch might interfere a little bit. I wish it was over here more, because they do put them all different places all over these cards. But and again, some people like that, some people don't. I thought it was also the cheapest way to get into a Jordan jersey card. So I do have a Jordan. This is a horrible card for a Jordan. That's probably why I got this for the price that I did. I paid $50 for this, which is just over the cost to get into one of these. And this is from the 97 jersey. That's all black, because I have two jerseys, a shooting jacket, and then a shooting shirt or something that they cut up. So that's why it's very important to read where it came from and scan it, because that's going to tell you so much information. You can also go to sportscards.com, look up Jersey Fusion. As you scroll down for the product, it shows you every jersey that they cut up. So it's very interesting, at least. It's got some transparency to it, and that's what I like about it. So you have a wall of Altuve. Altuve is probably the cheapest best buy for the level of athlete he is right now in the hobby. His auto patch stuff compared to other people is so cheap. And he's a great baseball player. Everybody's going to have to get past all the other crap that happened. But at the end of the day, he is a very, very good baseball player. Let's go over here. Trying to get me back up. There we go. Boom. I don't know if that was an improvement or not. But yeah, some of the Altuve stuff is just super, super cheap for what it is, especially some of his rookie stuff, because he doesn't have like super crazy rookie stuff, because he doesn't have a Bowman first. He just has a straight rookie card, and he has a Topps one and then a Bowman Chrome one. And then everything else is going to be autos and patches and stuff like that. Are good. All right, but how cool would it be if you could bet on sports cards and sports games with a user and platform? Yeah, it would be interesting, Shane. One of the things that I came up with before all this other stuff had came out was basically stocking a player, which is basically like a card, and you can just put a card as an example. But I wanted to call it playerstock.com, and you sell so many shares of a player that you buy into. Once it's sold out, it's sold out. But as a player does well and people sell those shares for more, it goes up or down. And you would use the standard chart you would use for basically for stocks and bonds, the same stuff we do when we go and look if something's going up or down. But this would be done on a per game basis. So you'd be betting into, is he going to have a good game or a bad game? And that would affect that stock price. So you're gambling within the product that you're holding. And at any point you can sell out on an up or a down. But you'd have to fear it continually going up based on how people trended with that player. Here, let's go look real quick. Jose Altuve. So he does have a Bowman first. That's right. That's that one right there. But that's a PSA 9 for $41. This is probably his most popular card. I was looking at one of these in a diamond. And then this card right here, this Bowman Chrome Rookies, also sells really well. And then there's obviously his first. The number first auto is what it is. He has a first. It's not a first auto. Shane, they're trying to come up with a trade format. The problem is that it's hard to make sure somebody's not getting ripped off. But yeah, if you're using it in a gambling aspect, so for instance, the guys did a fantasy football team, and everybody had to put up a rookie card of a minimum value. You can put one up over if you wanted to, but it had to have a minimum value, and you're putting that up for the winners, and they were broken out based on cost. So the person who wins would get these cards, second place would get these cards. I don't think there was even a third place, or it might have been winner take all in the other league. But that was kind of cool for a fantasy league is, hey, everybody puts a card up, and this is how the payout looks. So if you win the league, you get all these cards. And it was kind of like turned into, oh, my card's better than your card, so they would put better cards in. You have a Diamond PSA 10, that's nice. Yeah, I'd definitely hold on to that and or find another one if you can get them cheap enough. Yeah, you got some good Jose stuff then. I mean, you have a Jose Altuve avatar, so I would hope you do. That'd be funny if you'd be like, yeah, I collect Frank Thomas. That would be hilarious. Now, do you collect all Astros, or are you just more of an Altuve guy? And what do you think is going to happen with Korea? I think I still have my Jose Correa or my Carlos Correa rookie. I know I sold my other one. Let's go see. I want to go see something real quick. What are these going for? See this card right here. This is a reprint from in 2021. I see these at shows all the time and see people buying these for $15 or $20. And I'm like, what are you doing? It's a horrible reprint. And a fake card here. I don't know why they allow these people to have these things. Yeah, Tucker's solid. Another Tampa boy. But yeah, no, Tucker, he's definitely a guy that I need to get. I for some reason I had the wrong Tucker auto. I had Preston Tucker. And I was like, God dang it. I pulled the wrong Tucker. And I now have to go get the other ones. Yeah, Yao Ming. Look at this one right here. Yeah, Yao Ming. I thought Yao Ming was going to be just the next thing, and he's one of the more of the last big men around. Big men don't get no love. Shaquille O'Neal stuff's so underrated. There you go. You got Astros are a good team. I mean, you also have Jordan Alvarez over there, so yeah, y'all have a great nucleus and core coming back up. Yeah, Bregman. If he stays healthy, that guy's just straight fire. Let's see here. What year was that? It was the 2009. I'm trying to see what this 2009 goes for now. It's a refractor. Look at this refractor right now. $41,000. If he wins a World Series, does all his cards just double, or do they triple? Because baseball's kind of crazy what people do. I mean, you see how much they pay for these Bowman first for guys that may never even make the majors, let alone playing them for very long. Look at that. Jeez. Pop 22 for regular pristines. Let's see if there's any, what I have. I have a BGS 9.5. Now mine's a true 9.5, so it'll have all 9.5 subgrades. That's a refractor, so that doesn't count. Sometimes I feel like there's more refractors than base. Again, this guy just wants stupid money. That's more realistic, I think, price-wise. Go sold. Chrome, refractor, X-fractor. There's a 9 base. Oh, that's January 30th. That was actually a pretty good deal. And if you want to get, if somebody wants a Trout rookie, this one right here is a really good one to get into auto-wise. The Sterling. I think that's a good buy price-wise for an auto because you can get them. Well, this is straight raw for almost 8K. Wow. There's a guy that's been breaking on YouTube forever. Sports Cards Infinity, I believe is his name. If you go look at his channel and you scroll down to when he was breaking 2009 Bowman Chrome, he pulls the orange Mike Trout auto out of one of the packs. And he's like, I don't know if this guy's supposed to be any good or not, but somebody got him Mike Trout. This kind of just like puts it all, he didn't even penny sleeve it. Just put it off to the side. I was like, Jesus Christ. Just going back and watching it now, you're just like, man, oh man, if this guy knew what he was holding at that time, it's just crazy. But that's the best thing too about going back and finding people that have very deep channels and looking for specific product. Because I keep looking at product and I'm trying to figure out how stuff breaks out when you get a box. Because let's face it, even old boxes of stuff are very expensive now. And I'm also trying to figure out how many things are starting to brick. Because my thing that I was talking about the other day is, at what point is it not valuable to not open the product? All right. So like, for instance, I know the 93 SP I have in there, some of those cards and boxes I've seen open are starting to stick together. The foil card for the Jeter does not. None of the foils do. So that's good. The main card you want out of there doesn't stick. The best base card in there that's non-foil is Bo Jackson for grading purposes. Outside of that, then you have like Nolan Ryan and obviously Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds. But the main cards you want aren't being damaged. Now, when you start talking about other product, especially 90s related product, if you opened up a 93 upper deck, whether it's the regular pack or the jumbo, there's a possibility the entire box is bricked. The whole thing. Like if there's a hologram in there, it'll be fine. So anything with a different surface usually doesn't stick. Now, if it's upside down into a double glossy card, then yes, it'll stick because of the type of gloss they were using. Consider it like a lacquer or a paint. It wasn't like today where it was a separate piece of the card, like the plastic can be a separate, completely different top piece of the card. But if you ever seen a player also sign a card and it beads up on it, the Sharpie, it doesn't actually like stay on the card properly. Over time, those cards are going to brick as well because that gloss that they're using on there is just at some point going to saturate itself, just stick together. And is it worth opening at that point? Because even if you pulled a good card, you're screwed. And keeping it sealed, what good is that? Because at the end of the day, it's meant to be opened. That's the whole point, you know. And I just feel like there's going to be a certain age range that products will start losing value, not gaining value anymore, unless somebody just wants to have a PSA sealed pack to say they have one, and that there's opportunity in it, even though it may fail. But I just see that being a futuristic problem, and nobody's really talking about it because I've seen people open up a lot of 90s stuff right now that I've been paying attention to because I was looking for certain inserts. So I was trying to figure out, is it cheap enough to buy a box to maybe chase something? And if you do, is it going to be in good condition? And that was part of my concerns just moving forward, is thinking, is this going to be good enough for me to open or not? So I may start making a list of stuff that I know bricks in all the sports, and then maybe trying to put that out there to see what we can do. Because what I'm always trying to do is find somebody breaking it now, whether it's on YouTube, a break somewhere, if they posted it on eBay to get into a break so I can go watch it, or if it's on Whatnot. Those are the type of things I'm looking for. And I need somebody on Whatnot, if they're going to truly interest me, is start buying this older product and breaking that. Or opening spots up for that for me to get into, because I'd be more interested in that than a lot of the new stuff, to chase some of the older cards. Like if somebody could get a box of metal football or something like that where you can get PMGs out of, they're still not easy to hit. You don't even get one per box, but people would buy into packs in order to try and get those. And I see that there'd be value. I know they're very expensive, but I still think there's enough room to make money on it if you can get it at the right price. But it opens up a level of entertainment, and it lets us know how these cards and packs are handling time, basically, because you're talking about something now that's nearly 30 years old, if not 30 years old. And I just get concerned with that, because I just feel like it's not like older cards from the 50s, 60s, and 70s where there's no gloss. They're not going to stick. You're more concerned about edges and corners from just being in the pack and maybe being grabbed, moved around. But yeah, it's a redemption is another thing too. Yeah, I mean, that's the first thing a lot of people got to realize is some of these products, like the people that were chasing like the Bowman Chrome Albert Pujols autos that weren't thinking about it, those are redemptions out of Chrome, and they didn't even redeem all of them. So that's why that card should be more than it's even worth now. It's one of those cards that I've wanted a few different times, and just wasn't going to spend the money on that versus something else to have in my collection. And I do think at some point he's going to get a heavy bump of love once you start getting closer to the Hall of Fame. But he has to be out of sight, out of mind for a minute, and that's going to be the best time to kind of jump on something like that, especially for him. But yeah, redemptions are rough. And Panini's been doing it for quite a while, so I don't see that being a good problem. But for instance, my Joe Burrow RPA that I have, that's a silhouettes card out of Chronicles. All right, so they did a 25 of the Premier patch, 2 logos, Nike logos, which is 1 of 1 and 1 of 2 and 2 of 2. I don't know if they made a 1 of 1, just because it probably hasn't been pulled yet. So at most they made 28 of that card for the set. They didn't make anything past 25. And that's why I've kind of just wanted to hold on to it, because for the set it's in, which isn't an expensive set to get in, but at this point it's probably outside the 1 of 2 and the 2 of 2, unless there is a 1 of 1. The Burrow to 25 is the best card you can pull out of there, unless there's a 1 of 1 of the Prism card that might outsell it auto. That would be the only other one, because you can get the black background Prism Burrows. But I hate reprints. The only type of reprints I like are the ones that are done manufacturer-wise, that pay homage to it. That, like for instance, this Will Clark is a Topps Chrome refractor that pays homage to the rookie card. I don't mind these. A, they're licensed. B, this card couldn't have been made that way because of history and that time frame. And I like to see that. I think that's really cool when they do stuff like that. The 52 Mantle is another one that's really cool to have. It's not expensive either, but I'm going to start collecting a bunch of those, of the main rookie cards or players in the main sets that are basically chromed out like that. The one I want basketball wise is the reprint of the 1993 Topps rookie Shaquille O'Neal, where he's got like the big hand sticking out and he's like asking for the ball. They did make a repop of that in a chrome and then a chrome refractor. I think the chrome refractors are there's only 50 of them, I think. Very hard to get, very expensive. Looks just like the rookie card, other than it does say reprint on the back of it or whatever it says. But because that when he was playing at that time, he was actually on the Lakers, not on the Magic when that card came out. But that's one of those cards I really would like to have. But for like all the other reprints I see floating around, I hate them. Like the other day, there was like 3 Jordan reprints. And they were $3 each. And I was like, I should buy those and cut those up, because, but I can't cut obviously all of them up or buy them all. Because if someday somebody's trying to pull a fast one on somebody, unfortunately. If you want to play a gag on somebody, yeah, it's great for that. But, and obviously the reprints, you flip them over, the colors are all wrong and stuff like that. It wasn't a good reprint anyway. But it was just more the fact that I just don't like seeing them at all. And those factors, again, if it pays homage or Chrome's doing it with an auto on it and it's making it look different, then that's cool. Any modern football players I'm buying low on? I know I'm not buying Kyle Trask, even though I'm a Bucks fan. There's people, some of his stuff has just gotten holy crap price wise. But Cam Akers honestly is a good play. But I like him long term. I think Jonathan Taylor's still actually undervalued for what he is. I want to look into getting maybe a couple Trevor Lawrence decent cards because I have some stuff, but nothing crazy. Again, Prism's not coming out for another 2 months. So we haven't even seen the best cards of a lot of these players even pop up yet. And we won't see it until after the draft, unfortunately. Like a few different guys on the Redskins. I just think they're destined to fail, though, unfortunately. Same thing with the Cowboys. I like CeeDee Lamb, but just something about the team. I just can't get past to what they're doing. This year's going to be, I think, a big transition with quarterbacks and stuff like that. Yeah, Hurts is. I don't know why Hurts is so low. I mean, I have his rookie scripts auto up here. I have a box of stuff that I would like to some point get graded, and that's one of those cards that I pulled, a year and a half ago, and I'm just kind of waiting. Make sure that's not important. Just kind of waiting to see what it does. I also have one of the National Treasures, not as true RPA, but one of the other ones. That's like a dual jersey auto, and one more Hertz card that's really, really good. But I'm just kind of like, they're too low. I'm not getting rid of them. Same thing with Tua. Tua right now. Tua's cheap, super cheap, especially compared to the other one. Yeah, Gibson over there on the Redskins. Redskins have some great talent. I just got to get a quarterback. And I think that's one of those teams that's going to go out of their way to go and get somebody, and whether it helps, I don't really know. I think Gardner Minshew would probably do good over there because he's crazy. And it's a good enough team that he can lead that group. Yeah, I think Tua's not going anywhere in Miami. Like, they'd be stupid to move him. And if they're going to bring in, who are they going to bring in? Watson, which he's still paying off people to get through stuff. I don't think Russell Wilson's going there. Aaron Rodgers isn't going there. Derek Carr's not going there. Minshew will take any starting job you give him, but he doesn't want turmoil behind him. So I doubt if he'll go there. I think Tua stays put at the end of the day. They have a good team and defense, and they're going to win games. And, if he gets better, I think we expect too much out of these quarterbacks, even though we're getting such great play. We expect too much out of these guys too early now, unfortunately, and sometimes that burns them out. Like they're looking for a replacement for Deshaun Watson and Houston, and Davis Mills was doing just fine. That's a guy that I'm going to probably go out and grab one decent card, low serial numbered auto, and kind of just hold on and sit on that as like a little thing, little. Let's see what happens. There's a guy that I've been collecting since a year and a half ago. Football wise, he's not even on a team, and he's already been on 3 teams, but currently not even on a team. From what I know, I don't think he's still signed with the Broncos. He's an extreme backup. That's Anthony Gordon. And if you just go look at what he did in college for the 1 or 2 years he played, and he played behind Minshew, and I forgot the other quarterback that came out above in front of Minshew right there, but he played with 2 other good quarterbacks that went into the league, and he went undrafted. Ended up being on the Seahawks, and then on the Chiefs, and then on the Broncos. And he's looking to try and get back into the league again this year, but if he gets in, he's a gunslinger, so it's just one of those long-term what-if players for football, and there's not a whole lot of those you can usually get into. Michael Thomas is going to have a tough time because the Saints are going to be now without Kamara. They don't know who their quarterback is. I think Michael Thomas goes somewhere else. I think the Saints are also in a cap problem right now. So I don't know. They got to free up some money somewhere, and I don't know what they're going to do with Thomas. I don't even know if he wants to be there anymore at this point because the team doesn't look like it's built to win anymore, and he's at the latter part of his career that he needs to be somewhere that he can try and win, and I don't think it's going to be there. Yeah, Waller's a tough one too. There's just something about Waller that I don't see progressing or changing. The tight ends right now in football are, all older guys that are really good, to be honest with you. There's a few young guys that have shined, but it's been the older guys that have really held up the league tight end wise. You still have Kelsey and Kittle as your two best tight ends in football. Gronk's probably not coming back, and he's all hands, and without Brady, what is he? I don't know. I don't think he wants us to see that either. So you never know. But man, that guy's hands are some of the best hands in the league. Yeah, I thought we'll see what that's all about too. That might have nothing to do with other than he's just taking a break from social media related to that, and he's just breaking off. So it could be 1,000 things on that. I don't read into that. There's a lot of fake stuff that floats around out there. I learned that over time, knowing people in entertainment, that stuff was being written about them, that it had nothing to do with what the truth was. If you started to really know more and more about that, you would take less of what almost anybody says out there, other than equaling a grain of salt. It's just it's crazy how they spin stuff or hide stuff or move stuff around in situations. So whatever we hear, there's always a much bigger wrinkle to it than what you think. And my thing is like with cards right now, like I like retail hunting a lot and grabbing stuff, but there's been no real good value out there. The product's been horrible. People will still buy it, so they're going to keep selling it. The higher prices drive me away from a lot of the product, and that's kind of sad. Yeah, Baker, I'd stay away from Baker. I mean, if he's still on the Browns, I'd stay away from it. It's just, again, it's a team thing. It's like it's got like bad juju or something. I don't really know how to explain it. I don't losing Odell, even though he wasn't really playing for them, whatever the situation was, because he's obviously doing fine over on the Rams, but he might be a very much like an Antonio Brown type situation, to where while things are going good, yeah, it's great, but if they start going bad, then they're not, because he turned into great play. He was a great player, top tier. Nobody really wanted him. What happened to this guy? To great player. What happened to him? Why did he become good again? And it just seems like it's all attitude based, and he's already been an attitude type player in the past. So again, that's one of those guys, he's going to try and win himself a championship, and then God forbid whatever happens to him after that, because either he's going to try and get a whole bunch more money, go to another team, he's going to do absolutely nothing and just burn out. That's what I see from Odell, at least. Baker, maybe they trade him. I don't know. He's great at commercials. Will probably do great at commentary. I don't know if I see like a great future for him at this point. The Browns, to me, feels like they're crumbling again. So I just don't see it there. Plus, everybody else in those divisions and that side of the NFL, the AFC is stacked, loaded, where you may see Burrow, Herbert, Mahomes, or what's his name? The Bills quarterback, Josh Allen. One of those four guys in the Super Bowl every year out of that division or that side of the league, the AFC. Or you may have, like what Brady was doing, winning a bunch of Super Bowls, keeping guys from winning Super Bowls. That could be your Burrow. Could end up being back to Mahomes again, because, at this point, Mahomes is almost in the Super Bowl every year. And people are like, his cards are going to dip. I was like, he's still one of the best players in the league. You keep doing this for 4 or 5 more years, now you're elite. He's already got a Super Bowl. The odds are he'll probably win another one. But how good is he going to be with no Hill and no Kelsey? And I don't see that extra attribute that he brings to the table that he makes everybody around him better yet. He's still just as good as the weapons he has, versus a Josh Allen, which will throw everywhere on the field, or Joe Burrow that just makes stuff happen. Herbert just needs to calm down a little bit with the gunslinging, but that's just who he is, and that team's only getting better too. And I think Herbert's a better passer than Burrow. Burrow has a different energy about him, and that's what we're seeing so far. But let's see what happens in 2 or 3 years. At the end of the day, we could be all talking about, oh man, Tua's the best quarterback out of that draft. That's how it could be at the end of the day. It's crazy, but it's definitely how it could be. So CD, Chase, or Justin Jefferson? As long as Jamar Chase is with Joe Burrow, I think everything's great. Justin Jefferson's problem is going to be when Kirk Cousins moves along, what does he have and who's going to throw to him? And CD is going to be good as long as he can stay healthy. But at the end of the day, the Cowboys just find a way to lose it. I mean, I like what I see out of Jamar Chase right now. Biggest concern is what he turns into as a person. And does him and Burrow stay on the same page through time? I see a lot of these young guys come out that like to be flashy, and then the group pretty much convinces him that, you know, he's the reason why the other guy is so great, and then there becomes turmoil. But while things are going good, they're always going to be great. But money-wise, for value, like Jamar Chase, I think Justin Jefferson's the best receiver out of the three overall. And then I would probably go Chase and then CD based on skill. But again, Justin Jefferson's problem is going to be who his quarterback is moving forward. Because that team, technically, if you think about it, you have a Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, Thielen, and then you have Dalvin Cook. And you should have a great team. And that team finds a way to always lose half of its games due to nonsense. And I just don't get it. They're getting ready to miss a window with Kirk Cousins for sure, because he's that guy that could light the league up and then just completely fall off flat on his face, act like he's done nothing the whole year long. Yeah, Osborne is pretty good. But, you know, it's just like, but if enough guys don't get it, and I don't know, it's so weird with football, especially with the way certain players go into things. And so, Joel, it's always buy low, especially if you're trying to sell high. I mean, I rip so much stuff, I end up with a lot of things. Sometimes stuff I didn't even know I had, because, you know, I'll put it in based on if I open a bunch of optic, I keep all my optic together. Whether it's all the rated rookies, all the inserts, all the color parallels, good or bad. I just keep them in a box and just wait. You know, the one thing I hold the longest baseball wise is all the Bowman Chrome stuff, because as Bowman first, you never know who is going to be good 4 years from now. You really don't. But it's the greatest product to get into in a break that you know nothing about. And if you hit one of the main players that are great now, maybe you flip it for some money, maybe you hold it. All the other stuff, just set it off to the side and just think of it as money in a piggy bank. The only difference is your penny could turn to a dollar in that piggy bank just because of time and how that player progresses. I like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but not enough to think he's going to be great. He's, like you said here, I think he's above average running back. But I don't ever see him being top tier, not even top 10. I'll put it to you that way. But top 15, I could see that. Daylight coming, you got it alone, baby. Yeah, 100%. I think and they have Mund is their backup that they drafted, and they're supposedly very high on him. I don't know why. I never even liked watching him play in college, so I don't know what they saw in him or what they think he's going to be, but he is not the answer in Minnesota. Just like I do not think Kyle Trask is the answer in Tampa here. We have to go out and get somebody. We have a good enough team to win now. We can't give it to Kyle and hope that he's ready and he's learned enough from Brady to move along. Not saying he can't be good. He's just not ready yet for sure. Hey man, healthy is everybody. It doesn't matter what team or player you are. You have to stay healthy to be good. Because at the end of the day, that's the only way to really get numbers. But, you know, it's just I look at some players in the league and I'm just like, oh, they could be great. You know, like everybody always wants OJ Howard to be great because of how big he is and he's physical and he's supposed to be able to catch and run. Man, we've given this guy so many years to try to be that guy, and he's never, ever been able to do it. That he's like, I don't think he'll be on the team next year moving forward. If I was going to pick one over the other here, I think Darnold's better than Drew Lock. I think both of them will either think Darnold moves off of Carolina, and Drew Lock, they may just keep him as a backup for long term if they go and get somebody. Because I don't think Bridgewater is still signed there after this year. I think he's a free agent. Yeah, Darnold. I see both of them still as just not great quarterbacks, but serviceable. But Darnold would be more of a serviceable guy than Drew Lock. There's just something about Lock that he doesn't get through his progression quick enough, or he over concentrates just on one route. He doesn't look anybody off. He's horrible at that. Yeah, well, they always talked about having tight ends. I mean, the thing is Brake gets a fair amount of targets when he's in. Outside of that, it was always Gronk getting the targets. Um, OJ Howard just, I mean, he doesn't even block well. Like, he's physically there. He just, like, he doesn't know what to do. It's like, was it Talladega Nights where he's like, what do I do with my hands? That's how I feel OJ Howard does that. Every day he goes to practice. What do I do with my hands? Um, it's just he doesn't catch the ball well, doesn't run routes well, doesn't block well. He just plays the position well, as in I'm a big guy that should be able to do all these things, and it just something doesn't translate. I have no idea why. It just doesn't translate whatsoever. What time we got here? 10:45. All right, I'm gonna get ready to wrap this up. It's getting a little late. Yeah, OJ is definitely below average, but I appreciate you guys coming on, watching. Again, if you didn't see the cards at the beginning of the video, go ahead and if you get a chance later, watch the beginning of the video. Just look at the cheap cards I got. Let me know what you think. I appreciate y'all coming on. I want to do some more of these moving forward. Monday's kind of a dead night for lives, especially. I'm also going to start asking a few of the other guys to pop on with me here and chit chat so we can go back and forth with each other, talk about some different things, and kind of just keep this thing going and get some chit chat with everybody, and enjoy an evening when we're just hanging out. All right, guys, gonna sign off. I hope you had a good evening, and I hope to see you in the near future. Keep an eye out for any lives, and I may just start popping on here and there now and then. So do make sure I have the notification button popped on, because I may do some live drives like Steve does, because I feel comfortable in the car when I'm driving and talking. That's why a lot of my old videos are like that. But I appreciate it, guys. Take care, and I will see you later.